A new year, a new me. And with this rebranding, I should really go with a game that suits the brand. I would talk about the Final Fantasy VII Remake, but I still don't have the PS4 yet. And I'd talk about the original, but that's such a huge ask. I could talk about Crisis Core!
Gone in a second, ultimate destruction. Gods are warring, sorrow never-ending, endless chaos, war and eternity. Welcome to the abyss.
Guys, here's an interesting fact about me that I don't think a lot of people know. I really like Final Fantasy. Whether it's the games, the anime, the movies, not you, you ghastly abominations, you may hold its name, but you do not hold its privilege. I'll be all over it like a moth to a flame because I love this franchise so very much. Hell, I'll even look past the fact that my favorite one in the bunch, Final Fantasy VII's been whored out so many times that it's basically lost all of its luster until the remake came out. Because I feel without this game's oversaturation, we wouldn't have this goddamned gem of a game. Now, for those of you that are unaware, I'll quickly inform you that Crisis Core was made in a little thing called the Compilation of Final Fantasy VII, which consisted of Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, which was a movie telling the tale of what happened after Final Fantasy VII, Before Crisis, which was a mobile game which told the story of before Crisis Core, the game of which we'll be talking about very soon, and Dirge of Cerberus, a game based around Vincent Valentine, which changed the gameplay, and I refuse to talk about it any further than that. Out of these 4 compilation titles, Crisis Core is very easily seen as the biggest success of the 4, with Advent Children being the second, Before Crisis being the third, and Dirge of Cerberus being the biggest failure of the bunch. So let's stop delaying and let's start talking about Crisis Core now. The game starts with a very familiar sight of a speeding train, but just when you think the game's going to be the exact same, instead of a blonde, spiky-haired boy jumping off the top of a train, you notice a helicopter flying atop the train. Within that helicopter is Angeal, and the main character of the game, Zack Fair. I love Zack Fair so much. In fact, I think he may be one of my favorite characters in Final Fantasy VII outside of Sephiroth and Cloud. I just love him. This game is just perfect for him, and his character and his personality and his appearance. I just love everything about him, and I refuse to let anything harm him. Which is sad considering I know the ending of this game. After jumping off the train like Cloud would and dispatching of some...
They're Wutai troops in disguise.
Wutai troops, and after dispatching them he makes his way up some stairs where he stands face to face with Behemoth. Once this rather drastic fight's over with, Zack finds himself in the presence of Sephiroth, one of the first soldiers and a living legend among his ranks. Now, like I said, this game's a prequel to Final Fantasy VII, so this predates Sephiroth's crazy, I'm going to kill everything and I'm going to redesign the planet in my mother's image. So this Sephiroth isn't so cuckoo, which means you're seeing Sephiroth pre-homicidal maniac, which is a really good look for him, by the way. It turns out, though, that this Sephiroth is part of the training mission set up to get Zack ready for the real thing, a mission in which Zack and Angeal are dispatched to Wutai to aid in the war between Wutai and Shinra. During the mission, Angeal vanishes, and Zack is later appointed to find Angeal and another missing soldier by the name of Genesis. Zack finds himself in the hometown of the missing pair, Benora, where he encounters Angeal's mother, who's recently seen her son leave his weapon, the Buster Sword, at home. After some exploring, they find the pair and they all come to blows. Benora is blown to smithereens, and Zack returns to the base, when suddenly it's attacked by clones of Genesis. When the duplicates are dispatched of with downright discretion, Zack and Sephiroth discover Professor Hollander's lab, where they noticed experiments made by Angeal and Genesis' DNA, as well as the DNA of the Calamity Genova. With Sephiroth clashing blades with Genesis, Zack chases after Hollander when suddenly, Angeal saves Hollander and knocks Zack into the slums of Midgar, where he meets the best girl of the series, Aerith. Zack finds Aerith tending to his injuries, and after a while he returns to Shinra HQ to find it once again being attacked by Genesis. Zack manages to side once again with his former mentor Angeal before disappearing, and Zack is soon demanded to explore Modeoheim, where Genesis has been spotted. On his way down to Modeoheim, he encounters a Shinra infantryman by the name of Cloud Strife, and the pair become fast friends. Near Modeoheim, Zack encounters and defeats Genesis, who appears to commit suicide by throwing himself into the depths of a reactor. Zack travels on to Modeoheim and finds both Angeal and Hollander. Tired of the fighting and his gradual degradation, Angeal summons and fuses with his own clones, and mutates into a monster, forcing Zack to kill him. But before he dies, Angeal gives Zack his Buster Sword, telling him to protect his honor. Whilst Shinra continues the pursuit of Hollander, it turns out that Genesis is still alive and producing clones, some of which have appeared in Midgar, forcing Zack to return as to protect Aerith. He leaves her with an Angeal clone that seems to be protecting her, as he then travels with Sephiroth and Cloud to investigate a Mako reactor near Nibelheim. While checking the reactor, Sephiroth learns from Genesis that he was an experiment implanted with cells of Genova before he was born. Genesis explains that his body is degrading and he needs Sephiroth's cells to survive, but Sephiroth refuses. Overcome with the recent revelations regarding his past, Sephiroth locks himself in the Nibelheim mansion, and a week later, sets Nibelheim ablaze and goes to the Mako reactor to take Genova's body, wrongfully believing her to be his mother. When Zack fails to stop him, Cloud throws Sephiroth into the life stream below the reactor. Zack awakens to find that Shinra has covered up the Nibelheim incident, and he and Cloud have become part of Professor Hojo's experiments on Genova cells and Mako exposure. However, Zack is able to escape, taking the catatonic Cloud with him. They immediately become high-priority targets for Shinra. While fleeing, Zack learns that Genesis and Hollander are trying to stabilize Genesis's mutation, and they now plan to use Cloud's cells, as he is the only one with Sephiroth's genes. Hollander attempts to get to Cloud but is killed by Zack, who then finds Director Lazard mutated by a humanoid Angeal clone and is turned against Shinra. Lazard directs Zack to the remains of Benor to find Genesis. Zack goes on to defeat Genesis, but upon returning, he discovers that Shinra have located them and killed Lazard. The Angeal clone that was left guarding Aerith also arrives, but he too is killed. Zack discovers a note that was carried from Aerith and learns that he and Cloud have been subjected to Hojo's experiments for 4 years. As Cloud slowly begins to die of Mako poisoning, he and Zack are hunted down by the Turks. But Zack convinces them to look the other way and carries Cloud towards Midgar. Genesis's body is collected by Nero the Sable and Weiss the Immaculate of Deep Ground. Shinra pursues Zack and Cloud and catch up with them just outside Midgar. Sung and the Turks attempt to defy Shinra and rescue Zack, but are too late, leaving the still semi-conscious Cloud hidden away. Zack fights off an enormous number of Shinra troops, but is ultimately fatally wounded. Cloud, upon regaining consciousness, crawls over to Zack's body after Shinra have left, and Zack, in his dying breath, hands down the Buster Sword to Cloud as Angeal had done before to him. Cloud then begins to stumble towards Midgar while Zack is welcomed into the life stream by Angeal, and wonders if he has become a hero. This epilogue recreates the opening scenes of Final Fantasy VII, as Cloud claims to be a former soldier. The story of this game is a gosh darned roller coaster of emotions, handled extremely well for a PSP title. Which is good considering it was almost just going to be a Before Crisis port. Now on to gameplay, which takes a drastic turn from the Final Fantasy VII of old. Instead of turn-based combat, Crisis Core instead goes for a real-time combat system, in which Zack can be moved around freely by the player in combat, and with the right and left bumpers atop the PSP, the player can scroll through a series of attacks as well as using items. These attacks vary depending on the materia equipped to Zack at the time. Another change to gameplay, and a unique mechanic to Crisis Core, is the slot-based mechanic called Digital Mind Wave, or DMW, which will trigger at random moments, allowing Zack to perform limit break-like moves based on the characters he's encountered, or a simple rush assault if he lands on an unknown character. It can also switch to previously defeated summons, though this is even rarer. Alongside the limit break, each of these 3 slots also have a number on them, and should they land on 777, Zack will level up. Other number combinations can also level up as materia and attacks. And speaking of combat, I hope you like annoying announcers, because you'll be hearing this a lot.
Activating combat mode. 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 Activating combat mode.
You need to shut the fuck up!
And without there being any downloadable content really for Crisis Core, I guess I get to talk about the soundtrack. Which is freaking amazing. I love this soundtrack so much. There are songs that are based on Final Fantasy VII, which take excerpts from those songs and add to them. There are songs which basically just remaster the songs and then add their own thing, or there's the original songs. Here, I have presented you a list of songs from Crisis Core you should listen to as soon as this review is finished. Here we go. Now, I need you to go online, go to your stores if they're still open, get yourself a PSP, get yourself Crisis Core, and play this game, because there is no way in hell you will ever experience this again. What the hell is this? This looks really good. I wonder if there's anything to it.
This right here is my favorite thing ever. In the history of forever. I think about this every day. I think about this all night long. I stay awake, not sleeping, because I'm thinking about this.
Ba-ba-ba-bum, bum, 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 ba-bum.
You don't want to be like this. This is disgusting. This is awful in every way. If I could kill it, I would. But I legally can't. But I've considered it.